Alright, it's 8:42 a.m. on Thursday, July 30th, 2026. I was laughing at my own foolishness. So I am the clinician called Dylan. Let's do this as, let's talk to strangers safely. We'll call this episode 60. I can't remember what number I'm on right now. So I'm walking to the gym because I could not get myself to get on a bus on time, and processing emotions about my most recent suicide attempt. Right, I am the clinician called Dylan. This is Let's Talk to Strangers, episode 61. My primary pronouns are 60 or 61, whatever. My primary pronouns are they, he, he, and it. I am a master's level counseling psychologist recovering from a nervous breakdown in 2019 and a lifetime of trauma before and after, including having been homeless, couch surfing, van lifing for the last 5 years. I've been battling suicidal depression since I was 8 years old. My most recent suicide attempt was June 7th, 2026. And so this is how I video journal, basically. I keep trying to have like topic lists and keep myself on track, but really the point of it is to let myself dissociate and actually like think my own thoughts, because a lot of the time I don't feel my own emotions if I am not like making noise with my voice. Like I have a lot of mental health issues due to abuse and trauma, so trying to get accurate diagnoses and appropriate treatment that doesn't make my symptoms worse has been quite the challenge my entire life, because I have been being misdiagnosed and mismedicated since I was 14 years old. The medications caused severe debilitating pains, worsening psychiatric symptoms, and despite being like qualified to diagnose disorders in other people, it's very difficult to get anyone to take me seriously about what I think my own accurate diagnoses are. They absolutely insist on labeling me as bipolar. And the thing is that like there's multiple different diagnoses that fit the symptoms that I have. The treatments for bipolar and schizophrenia make my symptoms worse. They are not the appropriate treatment for me, whether I meet the criteria for those diagnoses or not. I've been very successfully treating my mood imbalance with the testosterone treatment that I take for my gender dysphoria. I feel like there's something in my nose. No, there's not. Alright. It's obviously raining. It's a beautiful, overcast, rainy day, and I'm walking 2 miles from my house to the gym that I never work out in. I just go to the shower. So by the time I get there, I'll be soaking wet. I'm feeling very anxious today. I'm starting a new volunteer gig today, or at least going to check it out and see if I want to do this as an ongoing thing. All kinds of legal and financial issues I'm going to deal with now, because right. When I moved back to Massachusetts in May of 2023, prior to my mother's death, my neighbors were all introduced to me, and after the first incident of me waking up after having a nightmare in our yard and yelling at the top of my lungs, they were all informed of my history as a disabled psychotherapist, the fact that I'm autistic, the fact that I was recovering from a nervous breakdown. Like, we provided them with a copy of my NPI number under my dead name, so that they would understand, like, I'm not just some, like, ranting crazy, like I'm like trying to heal from being a marriage and family therapist. And like told them, like, if there's any issues, like, please contact Ames, and explained to them about how, like, I had been swatted and I had, like, been traumatized by all this other stuff. And rather than ever approach us and try to talk to us, despite the fact that they claim that they're concerned for Ames, right? They never once reach out to Ames. They just immediately call the police. And at this point, it does not matter what the truth is about what happened. If the police show up and I am there, they force me to go to a hospital or they send me to jail. And just for, like, it does not matter how I'm behaving when they're alive. They take my neighbor's word for it, that whatever my neighbors say was going on is what happened. And regardless of, like I'm thinking about the last time when they sectioned me because Chris had been yelling at me. By the time they showed up, Chris and I are just sitting on the porch talking to each other perfectly calmly. And, like, I told him, like, no, we're just sitting here talking to each other. And for whatever reason, they forced me to go to a hospital again. The neighbors have been swatting me for 3 years. And the police are very obviously, like, on their side and trying to drive me out of town. So, like, rather than let me heal from the trauma that I had been through, the neighbors and the police have made a concerted effort to kick me out of town. Like, my biggest problem is social isolation, rejection, and touch starvation, and, like, they're trying to criminalize my mental health symptoms. Because, like, yelling is not a crime. Like, that is protected under freedom of speech. Yelling is not a crime. But they also, like, multiple police departments have filed completely false allegations against me. And I just, like, at this point, I wish they would just fucking get it out. Like, just get it over with. I'm done. I'm being terrorized with being, like, threatened with being swatted, then actually being swatted, and then a crazy lady that we were having to stay with us for a little while telling me that the Weymouth, Hingham, Quincy, and Braintree police had a pool going to see who was going to get to kill me, or have to kill me, depending on the mood that day. I've been being terrorized with the police since at least 2020. And, there's nowhere I could go to escape it. At this point, it's like, it doesn't make sense to stop talking about it. But I sure do have a sick, heavy feeling in my stomach and my chest. I have other things I have to deal with, other courts I have to go up to. So I want to be in a good mood. I want to focus on, I'm going to go take a nice warm shower, clean and happy, and then go volunteer. And this is an opportunity for me to actually be in community with, like, families and children again, where I can be in, like, a supportive role, and potentially be offering, like, after-school homework help, and, like, running I want to suggest running, like, an arts and crafts group, or, like, a short story discussion group or something like that for kids who'd be interested in stuff like that. That's the thing, is that, like, I didn't think I would like working with children. I was surprised that I did, but when I graduated and started looking into like, different jobs, it was like there was a lot of residential programs that had positions available. So I started in a program that was mostly teenagers and found that I really enjoyed working with the 12 and under children. And then for a little while I was working with a youth homeless shelter that was ages 18 to 24, but That didn't last very long. And then the longest running job I ever had was only 8 years. Was working with kids in residentials, 12 and under, and I absolutely loved it. And the kids loved when I would show up because I was good at what I did, and I'd show up with like a backpack full of like my own games and stuff, and like loved teaching kids to play chess. I loved teaching like frustration tolerance and coping skills through games. It's like, we're doing something competitive, so there's the possibility for kids to get upset when they lose or when they're losing or whatever. I was really good at like modeling being a good winner. I was not always such a good winner. I learned a lot working with the kids because I was like, okay, like here's all the things I don't like about the way that I behave as an adult. And I just like model the correct behavior for the children. It changed my own behavior. Like that was probably the best therapy was because I did talk therapy for years. I never had a therapist who actually sat with me and did coping skills. We'd just talk about here's the problems, and I'd be in my head and thinking about it and upset, and that was basically always the thing, was like just constantly upset. And then when I worked with the kids in Resi and in the in-home therapy, is I'd sit with them and be like, okay, like let me demonstrate for you, this is how this is done. Take deep breaths or do like progressive muscle relaxation or just whatever techniques we're doing. And so I'd like practice those skills with them, and that was both when my like I think that was when my mental health declined. It was like my body was like, oh god, we could have been doing this all along. Because like I hit the exhaustion point around 2012. I think that's when I had to take the semester off from school, and then I think I just found a dead frog. But anyway, yeah, I'm very morbid. Right, so in 2012 I had to take a semester off from school because I was too overwhelmed by that point. 2017 was when I made my most recent suicide attempt at the 20-year anniversary of my first suicide attempt when I was 17. I have to remember that taking care of me is being productive. I constantly feel useless and like I'm not doing enough in the world because I'm not able to work still. Like I became disabled at 39 years old after I had been working at least part-time since I was 14 years old, and for most of my adulthood I worked 2 jobs at a time. For 10 years of that, I was going to school while working 2 jobs at a time. And, like, my feelings of self-worth have always been tied to, like, my performance, my academic performance, my athletic performance. My intelligence and my linguistics for academics, my productivity at work. If I don't feel like I'm being useful enough and productive enough, I don't feel like I'm worthwhile as a human being. And I had gotten over that for like a long time. I was able to feel like no, I'm in rest and recovery mode, And at this point, I've gotten back to a point where, like, I'm almost well. Like, fellow disabled people will understand. There's, like, I almost feel well on this. I'm physically, like, fit and capable of doing a wide variety of different kind of jobs. I don't have the mental or emotional fortitude. Like, it's still difficult just to go inside of buildings other than my labs. Like, I hesitate outside of every building because after all of the times that I've been locked in hospitals, and jail against my will at this point, I don't like going indoors a lot of the time. I have panic attacks and run screaming out of hospitals when I have to go for fucking treatment. Like, the American court system is a human trafficking ring. And we know it. Like, we never ended slavery. We kind of expanded it to, yeah, now anybody can be locked up for profit. Kidnapped and murdered. And just, whatever. Because at this point, we're all so desensitized to it. Like, people are upset, they're outraged, sure. The people are outraged about ICE. That just happens to the average person. You don't need to deport them, just grab them, lock them in a hospital. And that's the thing, is that, like, locking a person in a psych hospital will drive them insane. Like, you don't have to be mentally ill when you go in, you'll be mentally ill when you come out. Like, just the hospital environment itself. The hospital environment itself, the fact that you're deprived of all your rights and freedoms, just frequent abuse. I've been sexually assaulted by numerous patients in psych hospitals, try to report it to the staff and they don't do anything about it. Can't get the patient's name, so I can't press charges. Not that I would, but... Yeah, I actually tried to file a sexual assault complaint one time, and didn't go anywhere. So, I just learned what millions of victims already knew. They don't care and they don't investigate. Thinking about my history. I made it to the gym. Yeah. So I'm at a point of I want to live. I don't want to be alive today. I want to things in my environment. Decoy. Oh, right. I was chuckling when I started this. One of the things that my doctor read that to me from a police report that she got from a hospital. I was talking about my delusions because and that's the thing is I'll when these things come up in conversation I start laughing because it's a delusion of grandeur. I'm a witch and I have volunteered to be sacrificed to save Donald Trump or Vladimir Putin's life if they would be assassinated. It's just a magical belief I have. I'm on Team Evil for chaos's reasons, and it's Oh, right. Yeah. Now that I'm almost up to 20 minutes and I wanted to cut this off at 20 minutes, at some point I will explain my complicated, convoluted, and entirely self selected belief system, just cherry picked from all the different world religions. Because if Christians can ignore half of like what Christianity says and then cling to the Old Testament, which is Judaism and not Christianity anyway, I'm just gonna cherry pick from every religion the things that actually make sense to me or like help me. So I decided like the magical energy fields, and this is all, and oh yeah, I mixed science in. So I guess I'll go longer than 20 minutes because now I'm actually smiling and laughing. So this is part of how I blend psychology and my understanding of actual science with my spirituality to create. I don't know what's fucking real or not. I just know I need to be able to exist in the world. And every now and then my brain goes crazy and I feel all this wild magical energy that is frequently tied to the weather. Like I've noticed that a lot of times it has to, it's when when it's raining, especially if there's thunder and lightning, like when there's an extra concentration of electricity in an area that I am in, I go crazy. When there's like astrological events like solar flares and shit, I go crazy. I like understand enough about electricity and gravity and water and just like I just kind of made up the same way that like people of old made up their best guess about like the gods are doing this and that's why I feel this way or that's why this is happening. And because like it's harmless, right, to believe like whether there's evidence to believe that it's true or not, it's harmless to believe that like if the moon can cause high tide on the earth that it could cause tides in the brain. That makes sense. Like it makes sense like if the tides change throughout the day, mood fluctuations throughout the day could be caused by the gravitational pull of the moon. That makes sense. That's logical. There may not be evidence to support it, but like that's logical reasoning. It's it wouldn't be sound, it might be cogent. Or is it, am I getting those backwards? It doesn't matter. So alright. Smiling. Feel a little better. I want to go in the building in a good mood. I don't want to be the person that I used to be anymore, who walked around scowling all the time to keep people at arm's length. I want to be approachable, but not too approachable. I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me.